What's up, YouTube? You're watching Brudsy Entertainment. I am joined by a very special guest, goes by the name of Antoinette on TikTok, guys. Make sure you check her out. Her link is in the description, and all her socials will be posted there. She's going to be telling us a little bit about her life story. And Antoinette, over to you. Tell us 30 seconds, a little bit about yourself. Just give us an overview.
Um, I'm 55. I live in England. I've had quite a lot of drama through my life, and I've come out the other end.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so what I normally like to do is obviously start with childhood. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, family relationship, anything. It's just
Okay. I was born in a phone box in London. My mum was 14, I think, 14, nearly 15. I was put into hospital straight away. I was in care till I was 8. I was brought down from London to where I am now. Then I was took back up, and I was brought back down.
wow. And obviously, what was the care system like? So you never had no sort of relationship with your biological mum then? Was it straight into care then, so
No,
the whole time?
no. She in 1972 was the last time she came to see me. I remember her, and I remember a man and a lady that used to come and see me because she brought me some like lacy tights. But at the age, I didn't, obviously, I didn't realise it was my biological mum.
And what would you say it was like growing up in care? Because I mean, it's can only imagine back in them days as well. I mean, not as
It was hard. It was hard. I had like 20 odd foster families. I ended up being advertised as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl needing parents desperately because I was a bit of a devil's child,
okay. Uh,
being pushed around from pillar to post.
wow. Okay. And was there any happy moments in the kid? Do you remember any happy moments from your like childhood in terms of the care? Any...
I remember a lady that used to work in the children's home. She took me
Mm-hmm.
home one day for Christmas, and I had a friend, and they put us in the same dresses, but she was in pink and I was in blue. But she never come back. They kept her and they sent me back. I remember that. I
Okay.
remember how the children's home looks like.
Wow. Okay. Do you have any friends that do you have any did you make any like lifelong friends or anything from the homes at all or
No. I've lost count. Well, I've lost contact with my friends that were in the home, which is a shame. There were two boys and they were twins, and I was really close to them.
okay, okay. So I mean eventually did you get like a permanent home, permanent resident at some sort of stage, like from someone?
Yeah, I did. I went with a couple, but within months they were divorced, and then that's how I was brought down to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was still under social services, I wasn't allowed to come down here, so I had to go all the way back up. Um, and eventually came down. I think I was about 8, 9 when I come down.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, so you've obviously been through it like within the social care up and down. I mean, what is that even like as a child? I mean, I can't even comprehend what that's even like as a child, like going from back, forth, home to home. What is that like? I mean, I have no idea what that even feels like, like just
All I
in
can
your
say is, yeah, it's like you're not wanted. Do you know that advert when they say a puppy's for life? Well, so's a child.
hmm
Child's for life. Um, you have problems growing up because you got that. Um, the trust is gone in a lot of people. You let you always feel like you're being let down. People only want you when they want you. Um, I can't say I've experienced an upbringing like in a lovely foster home. I didn't have that.
Okay. And would you say that's had an effect on obviously relationships, building trust? I mean, what would you say? I mean, how does one even begin to start like, trusting people and going from like trying to move on with life sort of?
I don't think you ever do. You don't. You can never move on because it's always back in your mind. But the one thing it did make is that there's no way my son was going to have a childhood like mine, like I had. So I done everything with him, everything, and we're so close. But even now I'm married now, there's still trust issues. There's um, sometimes you just feel like they're just with you because they haven't got anywhere else to go. So they're with you for safety or something like that. But there's trust is a big problem. Relation, my marriage can be hard
Mm-hmm.
because you think that they only want you for something that you can give them, either if it's, you know, the S or clean the house. It's hard. It's hard because you're always looking back. Why did this happen?
Mm-hmm. And obviously, you mentioned that obviously you've suffered a lot with domestic violence as well in your lifetime.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to touch a little bit on that as well.
Yeah. Well, my husband was in the army when we were younger. We were only dating. Um, I got into a couple relationships where it was abusive. I've had like been threatened with a gun. I've been beaten up. I've come home to my flat at the time that was just ransacked. They took everything, even my car, even my son's bed. They took that and just smashed it all up. Um, then I met someone else. That was bad. That was even worse. That
Mm-hmm.
was just horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like, I know this sounds weird, but it feels like that's all you deserve.
Yeah, and
You
I was
don't
gonna
deserve anything else.
yeah, I was gonna touch on that. Unfortunately, when some people go through like dramatic circumstances like abandonment issues and stuff like that, they do tend to obviously it seems like it's coincidental that they attract the same sort of person over
Mm,
and over and over again, but it's obviously
yeah.
you look past where most people might see one warning sign and say fuck that, I'm off, I'm not having any of this nonsense. That's just part of your normal life, so obviously
Mm,
it's like, oh yeah, this is just normal sort of,
yeah. Yeah.
and obviously it just spirals out of control from there, and you just tend to accept it. So I mean, when did you get to a stage where you said, I'm not accepting this anymore?
Um,
I deserve better for myself.
I think it was with the last domestic violence, and that was really, really bad. It was, black eyes. I think I got to the stage that I was sick of. I'm not a girly girl, so I don't wear makeup. So I bought like foundation, and I was trying to cover it up. I went to my nan's, who lived just down the road, and he actually come into my nan's house, my foster nan,
Mhm.
um, and she put a stick up and hit him with a stick. And I thought, what am I doing? Because I brought this trouble to my nan's door. That ain't right. That
Mhm.
ain't right. So that's when I just thought, I'm just going to go to court and get them out of my flat and just. But then you're living on edge. I had panic alarms. I had police circling my house.
Mhm.
It's not nice.
It's just crazy that these abusers, they just seem to sort of like they just won't let up. They just won't let people
No.
go, will they? They just will not let them go. I was speaking to a young lady recently. She's only 18, and the lifestyle that she's had is like, and she's still worried about the partner coming back out and coming back and getting them and stuff. So I mean, it's just where do these people get bred where they feel they have to sort of beat women, control women, all this sort of stuff with women, and then they won't let them go. It's just, and
No.
it normally ends with someone doing like some women just have enough and end up freaking killing the guy. It happens all the
Yeah.
time. Happens all the time.
Well,
They.
it put me on the multi-story because my mental health was lower than low, and I just couldn't. I couldn't find a way out, and I couldn't think of a way out. So I
Mhm.
thought the only way is to jump.
Mhm.
And it's not the first suicide. I've done like overdose on medication. I've been on the dual carriageway. It's just you want to escape from it, you just want to get away. But and then they tell you the worst thing is they tell you a load of, which I know now is a load of shit and a load of lies,
Mhm.
and then you believe them and you take them back, and then they drill it into your head that no, you're not good enough for anybody else. You're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too ugly, and they mentally get into your head, and that's the hardest bit is to get that mental torture.
Yeah.
Bruises heal,
Yeah.
bruises will heal. My face heals, my body heals, but your mind doesn't heal because that's always in the back of your head.
No, definitely. Even like I'm pretty sure everyone can remember that one time when someone said something horrible about them, where they sort of shrugged it off and said, it don't really matter. But deep down inside, it does matter. So it's
Yeah,
and that's for everyone. Obviously, some people can mask it better, but I mean, how have you sort of built yourself up, and how do you intend to sort of build yourself up a little bit more so you can build your confidence and start appreciating yourself and say, you know what, I don't deserve these animals. I deserve someone to treat me properly.
I got. Well, I'm married now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You said yeah.
Um, I don't think you can ever build yourself up. You can't.
Mhm.
When you've been tortured mentally and you've been abused physically and mentally, it sticks with you. It really does.
Mhm.
Some days I wake up and I say, I have to do like I'm okay.
Mhm.
Even if I'm not okay, it's okay not to be okay.
Mhm.
Um, I do to build myself up. That's hard because I'm still not over my life yet. It's still really raw,
Mhm.
really raw.
Definitely. And you mentioned that you were, is it 5 months clean? Did you say? five
Yeah,
months clean. So
5 months.
let's talk about your first sort of encounter with sort of, I don't know, whether it was alcohol or drugs or whatever. I don't know what
It was both alcohol and drugs.
and what was the first
Um,
thing that sort of initially got you into it then? Or
just being well, back in the days when I was younger, they didn't have like autistics or anything like that. So I was classed as a naughty one at school, the joker, the clown.
Mhm.
I got in with the wrong crowd. I joined the circus,
Mhm.
went round with the circus. I started drinking. I started doing drugs. Um, the drugs got quite heavy, and the drinking got even heavier. That's why I got into alcohol and drugs. Then when I
So would
come back,
mhm.
I carried it on.
Would you say that you picked up like quite a few like drinking buddies and drunk buddies sort of thing, and then
Yeah,
they sort of became the sort of, because obviously that's your environment is what you are, you sort of just tend to hang with that,
mm.
don't you? Really?
Well, because like when you're drinking and you're drugs, and you're in that circle of people,
Mhm.
because you're all in the same. It doesn't matter what you look like; they still love you, or you
Mhm.
think they love you, but they just don't. They don't really love you. They just want someone to buy the next round or buy the next hit. That's what they want,
Yeah.
and it's only when you're out of it you can see it.
That's and I was talking about that with someone else recently about money and stuff. You can have you once you've got a load of money, you've got everyone around you. Everyone wants a piece of you. Everyone loves you. Everyone wants to phone you and stuff like that. But the moment that supply dries up, it's like, oh, you're boring. What's wrong with her? Sort of thing. What's wrong
Yeah,
with him? Sort of thing. And it's a tough one. It's a tough lesson to learn. Who your real friends are. And it's obviously you only
yeah,
learn that when they're gone, when everyone's gone sometimes. So it's very
yeah,
important to
definitely.
sort of be. It's very important. I'd say to people, just make sure you're keeping real people around you because, because the moment shit gets tough in your life and you need someone to talk to, these people, "Oh, yeah, you got any drugs?" That's their only answer. And some people are just like they're stuck in it. They refuse to leave. They're happy,
Mm,
and men get away with it a bit more because they could get the luxury of just putting babies around and then freaking pissing off and then being by themselves, and they can actually get away with doing that. They get a flat, they get
yeah,
their drugs, they can drink and just sponge off everyone else. So it's a
yeah,
tough one,
definitely.
really. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. So I mean, go like I mean, how do you picture? I mean, I don't want to be all doom and gloom with you. Obviously, how
No, that's okay.
is there any light in the end of the tunnel? Sort of, is there anything you're striving for? Anything you're trying to like do to sort of like make get some more meaning from your life and obviously build yourself up a little bit? I know you said it's hard to do, but is there anything you're doing in terms of trying or any plans or anything?
Um, no, not really. I'm waiting for the summer. I love the sun.
Mm,
I'm okay. Some days I have my bad days. I used to work as a nurse.
okay.
I had horses. I had fields. 5 years ago, 2021, sorry, I had cockle meningitis,
Mm,
sepsis. I had a big bleed on the brain. So I've now got a mass on the brain,
okay.
um, and I've got muscle wasting disease. So I'm registered disabled now.
Mhm.
So every day is a struggle, but every day when my feet hit the floor, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for my family I've got now.
Mhm.
So that's a blessing. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. Well, there won't be for me because I'm not going to get better. I'm going to get worse. I'm going to be bedbound, I know. But then I look back and I think when you go through something like what I've gone through, it made me a better mum because there's no way I was going to let my son have a
Mhm.
bad childhood. I was going to educate him. He runs his own business. He's got his own house. He's doing really, really well.
Mhm.
So my son is my world.
Mhm. How old is your
So I
son?
meant to. He's 34 now.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. And there was me. Yeah. I was sitting there thinking, is there any little ones running around or something? 34. Wow.
Oh
Okay.
no! Oh no! Couldn't do that. Could
Wow.
not handle that.
So do you still have, does he have any children at all, your son, or has he got?
No, no. He's more a workaholic like I
Okay.
was. He likes to
Okay.
work.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
hopefully one day I'll have a grandbaby. That would be nice.
Yeah, I think that'd be lovely for you. And I think as well, sometimes you said there's no light at the, like, at the minute it just seems a bit doom and gloom, no light in the tunnel. But sometimes people forget that having children and bringing them into the world and then bringing up good, seeing them do well, that is our primary goal. That's our primary goal,
Oh
to
yeah,
bring up. So we sometimes we might not get what we want from life. We might not get all the luxuries, all the lovely holidays, and all the the fancy life that's seen on TV. But you as long as you bring your children, the main priority from everyone should be to bring their children up to a certain level where they're doing well, and everyone, you can look back on that, when you've got when your son finally settles down and has children and a family, you can honestly be proud of that. You've passed the
yeah.
legacy on. So I mean, there's always that to look back on, but I think we do need something for ourselves. So I mean, whether it's, I don't know, a hobby or something, anything, I don't know.
I've got I like artwork, so I do a lot of. But I'm riddled in arthritis, and I've got
Mhm.
bulging discs. My health is really poor, so
Mhm.
um, I've got I bought a hot tub, a stack of hot tub. That is my when the sun's out, I like to listen to the birds. It's not all doom and gloom.
Mhm.
Um, but my son is the apple of my eye.
That's.
He's the one I'm proud of. He's
Well.
my light.
And how does he feel about how's he feel about mum? Do you ever sit down and tell him like what it was like for you growing up? Do you ever does he has he?
Yeah, he's seen the pictures a couple of years ago and asked me what it was about. So I've never not been honest with my son. I've
Mhm.
always been open with the drink and the drugs, my childhood, domestic violence, affair, my illnesses now. That's one thing I am proud of. I've never hid anything from my son.
Mhm.
I've always told him. So we have a good relationship. He knows about it. He messages me every night and
Mhm.
asks me if I'm okay. And if I just put okay, he knows I'm in pain or I'm not good. But
Mhm.
yeah, he's a good lad. He really
That's
is.
good. Is he in the same sort of area as you? Does he get to get down and see you often
Yeah,
and that?
he's literally like 10 minutes down the road
Mm.
from me.
Oh, and that just goes to show you what sort of great job you've done as a mum to bring him up and stuff. He's obviously still looking out for you, in his own little way. So that's obviously a testament
Yeah,
to you.
he does.
Obviously, the testament
Yeah.
to you. So yeah. So let's talk a little bit about marriage life. You said you've been married 17 years. How did this
Um,
start? I think that's most women. Oh, that old fart on the couch over there.
oh my God. Do you know what? I love him, but also he does my fucking head in. He really, you know, when I've had enough, I've got to go to bed
Mhm.
because he works hard. He's a grafter. He is fantastic. But when he's at work, it's bliss.
Fair enough.
That's
A
all,
lot,
that's
a
all
lot
I
of
can say.
a lot, and a lot of people do say that, and it's very common. It's not just you. I mean, it's like, it's a tough one when you spend so much time with someone for a very long time. After a little while, well, men are men so much aren't so bad. Maybe we just get fed up with the nagging, but the women, women tend to sort of like get very upset about certain stuff. Your furniture, your clothes, your pants in the bed, and
Yeah,
all that,
yeah,
and all the stuff that you can ring off. I'm sure.
yeah. It's like he'll come home and, it takes me quite most of the day to clean up. He's a paint and decorator. So I keep
Hmm.
saying to him, wash your hands. No, then you get paint marks and then you get bits of paint all over the floor. And then when he goes in the bathroom, because he's fucking covered in paint, it's like stuck. And I'm like, oh my God, just fucking come home and wash your hands. Just do something, normal, what a normal person would do. Don't come in and think, I'm going to have a coffee and a fag. But no, he's good, but he can rub me up the wrong way quite quickly.
Fair enough. That's easily done. In his world, he's probably saying, "I've just done a hard day's fucking graft. I've just done a hard day's fucking graft. All I want to do is is come in, have a shit, have my coffee in peace, and that woman over there, she keeps pestering me. She won't leave me alone."
He probably does. And the worst thing he does is he takes his phone to the toilet. Oh God, that's so annoying. And he watches like, I don't know, fucking whatever he watches on there, like some stupid program. And I'm like, and then he go in the bath and I can hear him in the bath laughing. And I'm like, hurry up, we've got one fucking bathroom in here. And he'll be like, oh, just let me relax a bit. He's been in like 2.5 hours. I'm like, but yeah, he's good man, but he can
Uh,
spar me in 2 minutes.
Fair enough, fair enough. I think that's very normal what you're saying, but I think most people go through these. Obviously, you're 17 years. Most people go through these sort of situations maybe in their 30s, and then it's like between the 30s and the 50s. But obviously, you guys are you're about 10, 15 years after that sort of, so a bit older and
Yeah.
stuff. So I think you can get a bit
Well, I
more
was with him
grouchy.
when I was younger. I was
Oh,
I
really?
was
Okay.
dating him when I was yeah. I was
Okay.
15 when I met him.
Oh, okay. So it's been like an off and on sort of relationship, has it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and it's the last 20 odd years we've been together. And
Fair
we only
enough.
got married because my washing machine broke. I was like, fuck it, let's get married. The machine's broke. Let's put it down as what we would like.
Fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
then the wedding was shit. Do you know what I mean? We spent a lot of money on the wedding and we were doing it in the poshest hotel in my town.
Hmm.
And they just messed it up completely. I ended up down McDonald's in my wedding dress. I
No
was
way.
so, when you get that so hungry and you've got
Mm.
to eat and you don't
Yep.
care. We
Yep.
got in the car and shoved my dress in. We got out, I went running in there, and then I was like, ordered like a Happy Meal because I was hungry. And I stood there and I was like, oh no, this is why people are looking at me. I'm in my wedding dress.
And that's what made the papers, did it?
Yeah, mate, yeah, hungry bride dashes to McDonald's.
I don't know what it
So,
is. I don't know what it is about weddings, but weddings, it's like we have our breakfast in the morning and then we think, okay, we're gonna go. But everyone is always hungry at weddings, aren't they? On that build up,
yeah,
it's like there's that build up where you're literally like, I remember my sister's wedding and everyone was starving, and my mum had some like mints, and everyone was like, damn mints, like
yeah,
everyone was starving. Like a good wedding is when you're not hungry. Like that's what I
yeah,
would judge a good wedding as, when that food is nicely distributed throughout the day, because people are
yeah,
just starving. But because you think about it, like you get there early, and then like the main meal doesn't normally happen till about 4ish, so you've got like a whole day walking around, dragging
yeah,
kids left and right, most people, and then it's like kids mucking around. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And then you have to
yeah.
wait for that. You have
Well,
to wait for that main meal.
they done the evening buffet for the main course, where I had a sit down meal plan. It cost quite a bit of wedding, and they
Mhm.
messed it up. And my nan is diabetic, so I was like kicking off, running around, shouting, and getting upset.
Mhm.
So that wasn't good,
Mm.
but it was all right. And then my uncle, oh, he's so funny. He was so pissed off he fell out the fire escape. I was like, "Where's my uncle?" And he's like flat on the floor, and I'm like, "Fucking hell." It was. I don't know. It was just like a mad wedding reception. It was just nuts.
Mhm.
But it was a good day. It was a good day.
Definitely, definitely. A lot of people say nowadays, weddings and like a lot of men are put off it because of the sheer price of it nowadays. And it's like it does, a lot of people have said to me, yeah, yeah, I paid for 20, 30 grand for my wedding, and then like come back same old shit, really. After
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
it
great
is.
for a day. It's great for a day, but same old shit. I could have done an extension in the garden, had a nice fancy outhouse, special sort of like pool table, everything all set up in there.
Yeah.
A game, a man's den, basically.
Ah, that's what my son's got. He bought this house and he converted it, and he's got
Hmm.
his own gaming room, and it's like, I'm like, get a woman. He's like, no, no, fuck that. He's like, I don't want a woman coming in here touching my stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, but just get someone pregnant and give me a grandbaby. I don't care what you do. Just give me a grandbaby when I'm young.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough at the minute. I mean, like with men at the minute, it's really tough for them to want to like because women nowadays, it's sort of they've changed. The women have changed now.
Mm.
It's like it's like it's totally different. Like the dating market now. Like now there's all these dating apps and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Women are just like they're going for the same guy over and over again. The guy that's got all the money. They're flashing off on TikTok or social media, and
Oh yeah.
they go for them, and then obviously they come back with a load of trauma for the poor guy that spent half his life building up his games room. Then he has to.
Yeah. I don't think he would do any of that. I
fair,
think he'd be like,
fair
no.
enough. Yeah,
But
go
he's like,
go to
he
work.
knows about the life. Like, I took him up to the pub to meet my birth mother.
Okay.
So that was quite hard. And you have like this image of what you think your natural mother will look like. And I remember me and my son, and I saw her, and my friend came with us and her son, and I was like, if that's her, we're going to get straight on the coach and come back home because it wasn't how I thought she'd be. Her letter she wrote me was completely different to actually what she looked like. So I was quite thrown. But she owned a strip bar in London. She was famous.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, she, go and get the small change, Luke. Um, and then it'd be like 40,000 in cash just dumped in the car. It was,
Wow.
well, she was like all money, and I'm not. I'm not like her. Long as my son's okay, long as my house is clean, long as my bills are paid. I don't care. Like I'm in a dressing gown. I'm just
Wow.
like put a dressing gown on, but everything with my mum was her hair, her nails, the pub. She got a bit of red wine spilt on her carpet one time, and she demanded that it was took up that day and a new lot put down. I was like, I can get that out. Why are you doing that? She wasn't the person I was hoping she would be. And then she was like begging me to stay there with my son and get him homeschooled. That was a trigger because it was pressure yet again. Someone telling me, stay here, we'll do this, we'll do that. Craig Charles, I've met. He's a good friend of my mum's. Um, Gladiators, I've met all them. Kilroy, he's a good friend. So she's got famous people, but it wasn't how I expected it. It really wasn't. It was just everything was money,
Hmm.
money and materials.
Let's try and digest that a little bit because obviously you said that you never really had much of a relationship with your mum. So when did the first initial sort of contact become where you started like writing like when you were older? When did that sort of relationship
My
start
son
building?
was, my son was. I got the phone book delivered, and I found a vicar, and he traced my mum up in London. He was so nice because I looked up D Foy, no D Barry, and I found a D Barry,
Hmm.
and he phoned me back and said, "No, you're not nothing to do with us." But he said he was a vicar and he'd help
Hmm.
me. So he was so good. He's got Alzheimer's now.
Okay.
So he traced my mum,
Hmm.
uh, traced her. I don't know how he traced her, but then he contacted me and said that your mum would like to meet you. He told me I got like 7 aunties and a brother. Um, and then he was tracing my birth father, um, and his colleague, I was 2 weeks too late for my dad because his colleague was actually doing his funeral.
Okay. So so how old would you have been then?
Oh God, no, my maths. My son was 3, 4, so I was late 40s, 39.
Oh, okay. So it's quite so the relationship started later on in life, a lot later, a lot later in life than when you actually met up. So then
Yeah,
then you go to meet her, and then you see she's this wealthy sort of superstar lady, not very
yeah,
maternal, not very maternal, but very obviously materialistic in terms of that. And
very,
obviously
very.
yeah, then you start building a relation. Then I imagine you start building some sort of contact relationship with her. I mean, what was she, what was it like? Because I mean, we watch like I used to watch a lot of TV programs, and you know when they do when they reunite with families together. What was that first initial bit like? I mean, what were you thinking? Like, were you expecting a hug? Because naturally, what I used to see it, and I used to find it very sad.
Oh,
And I
long lost families, yeah.
yeah, I used to find it very sad watching it. I'd think if that was my kid and I hadn't seen him, the first thing I'd want to do is give him a big cuddle or something like that. I mean, what was your sort of, I don't know, what you tell me, you tell me. It's your story, your experience.
I got off the coach with my son and my friend and her son, and she went, "Oh, this way," and that was it. And then a chauffeur opened the car door, and we just got in. And then we got to the pub, and she said, "I've got my hair appointment. I'll be back later." That was it.
Wow. And how did that make you feel?
I just wanted to go home. I really wanted to come home.
Hmm.
So badly wanted to come home. Um, they had a park across the road. I remember saying to one of the bar people, "We're going to go across the road," and they said, "No, you're not allowed out on your own. You've got to be safe. You know, you've got to have someone with you, as in
Okay.
a bodyguard."
Really? Oh, were they is it quite well to quite important, quite high profile people then, were they?
Yeah, my mum
Wow.
was there.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
was
Wow.
like, "Well, I don't really want anybody coming." And then uh, we went up into the room, and I said to my friend Ellen, I said, "Let's just catch the next coach. Let's go home. I really don't want to be here." I was in tears.
Hmm.
Um,
So
she
just
didn't even come up.
sorry, 1 second. My son's just come in from school. 1 second, sorry.
Okay,
And I am back.
that's okay.
Where were we?
Yeah, I wanted to come home. It was
Yeah.
just not what I went to a pub before with my friend, and this bar lady, she was like in a silky, like, I don't know, like a tracksuit or like a top and bottoms to match. And she was so warm and so loving to
Hmm.
everybody that come in, and she made you feel welcome. So when I went into my mum's and I went in the pub, and then she said she'd be back later, she's having her hair done, I thought, I've just travelled all this way and you're more interested in your hair than every question I asked her, she was avoiding, like with my dad. She didn't tell one of my sisters for 3 years about me.
Wow.
She's very deceitful. I don't know if deceitful is the right word. She was very cold, very cold. I was I'm reading the letters. I still got them, but reading the letters, I was expecting something completely different. Someone looking completely different. Um, I wasn't expecting her to be like how she was.
Do you wonder whether she had some person write them for her? You know, this sounds,
Yeah,
you know, because
it was
sometimes
like
it's, yeah. Okay.
it's like just going into, like, I don't know. I've watched long lost families all my life,
Hmm.
where they go and find their biological parents and their family. Um, and I've always wanted to do it. And when I got the nerve to do it, I sit here sometimes and think, you know what, I wish I never bothered. I wish I just left it. I'd have rather just had this image in my head than the image I got,
Hmm. Yeah. It's
because she was she was okay, but like, I remember one day she chucked a load of gold at me and a load of money. And I said, I was quite rude. I said, "Fucking hell, you think that would pay for my upbringing? Or is that guilt money because what you done to me and put me in a home, put me through shit all my life? because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have gone through what I've gone through. But I'm going to reverse that, and I'm going to thank you because you made me the person I am through all the trauma I've gone through. And I know for a fact my son will have a better life than I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And I left the money. I won't touch the money or the
Mm.
jewelry.
Oh, did you throw? Can you tell me where you threw the gold? Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
joking.
it's in her pub, still in her pub.
I'm joking.
She was, it was just like, how can someone just think about money and material? I've never been a material person. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Never.
Mhm.
I always think, long as your rent's paid, your bills are paid, you're a lucky person. And
Mhm.
I've always been like that.
Yeah.
But to just chuck money in gold, I was
Mhm.
just like, I don't want your gold. And then I remember going to one auntie and she turned around and said, well, how much are you trying to get off Denise? How much do you want off her? And I was like, what? Fuck off. I don't want a penny off her. She couldn't afford me. She couldn't pay in gold or money for what she's done, what I've gone through in my 30 odd years of life. You're joking. It wouldn't cut the money. It's not about the money. It's about of knowing who you are and history of illness. Because when you go to the doctors and you get older and they say like, what's your family history? You sit there and go, well, actually, I don't really know.
Mhm.
And that's hard not to know, like, if you got cancer on your side or depression or anything, people that go through it, they know because you just sit there and you go, well, actually, I don't know. Like strokes. I've had 5 strokes. My
Wow.
last one was in November last year,
Wow.
but the strokes are on that side of the family.
Mhm. And
But when you
then.
sit there and you've got a son, you need to know the history so you can explain, I
Mhm.
don't know if they got eczema or anything like that. And they go, well, has any of your family got it? And you just feel so not ashamed. You feel gutted that you can't answer a simple question.
Mhm. Definitely. Definitely. So that was in your 40s, and then obviously you obviously built the relation. Obviously, was there a continuous relationship, off and on sort of relationship throughout the
Yeah,
years and that?
yeah, there was. I met one of my sisters 3 years later. She ain't no good. I don't speak to any of them. There's 14 of us in the family.
Wow.
Um, and then my mum said that she's going away. So I said, that's fine. Have a good time. Um, phoned the pub to see because she was due back and she wasn't. Um, and then my mum phoned me and she said, I'm going to, I said, well, just have another week there, whatever you want to do. Because she had like villas there, she had a bar. Um, and then the next minute, I have the police knocking on my door that she was murdered
Wow.
in the Dominican Republic.
Wow. Is this the story that was on the news then about the lady that was?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I remember this on the news, hearing about this. Was it a robbery or something like that?
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's crazy. I'll
She
just
was so
put.
decomposed you couldn't recognise her. Denise de Courtney, you call.
I'm just looking it up. So, I remember
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that was my mum.
Like, uh, have a look and see. What was that? Sorry, what was her name? Denise.
Denise de Courtney, D-D Courtney.
Wow, that's
You
insane.
got it up?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Picture of an orange pub. I stood outside the pub.
Uh. Mm, no, don't seem to. Don't Denise McCourt. Please.
blonde hair.
No, I probably I'll search it up afterwards and make the right
Yeah, yeah.
make the right things. But yeah, but
'Cause it was the Queen Anne pub, Victoria.
mhm.
Queen Anne, Vauxhall, London.
Wow, wow,
She
that's
went to the Dominican Republic and she got murdered. She was there for a week, so she was so decomposed.
wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. I mean, is there how? I mean, is obviously I don't know. You tell me what did was there any like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. It's your
She
story.
We had like a vigil for her, and we had a big East London funeral for
Hmm.
her. I had the papers outside my house. I walked into the streets, like into the town, and there's pictures of me, and where they got them from, the press, I do not know.
Hmm.
So it was hard. It was hard because although we weren't close, it's still your mum, isn't it? She was only
Definitely.
60 when she
Definitely.
got murdered.
Def.
They flew the body over, and it was the wrong body, so we had to send the body back. It was hard, and it was as soon as it leaked out with the press, then it was even harder.
Hmm. Wow.
So, and then obviously the estate and that was all dragged up. Um,
Hmm. And
but
I bet you
I
made
gave,
that. I bet you made that very simple. I bet you just said, "I don't want anything." The kind of
I
person I can
did.
just tell. I can tell the
Yeah,
kind of
it's gone
person
to
you are.
charity. It's
Wow.
all gone to charity. Loads of different charities. I didn't want a
Mm,
penny of it. I don't. My son got a big whack. That's up to him. That's up to him what he done with his. I don't ask him because I don't want to know. But yeah, the solicitor and the barristers, I was like, just give it to cancer research, give it to the dog home, cats, give it to a pony sanctuary. I don't care. Just give it all to charity. I didn't want
hmm.
a penny of it.
Did you get the bulk of the estate then? Did you or?
Uh, I divided it
Oh, okay.
to the
But
nieces and nephews.
you was in charge of it, sort of like yeah. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right. I didn't want any of it. And then it's funny, like when something happens like that, like your auntie, like suddenly gets hold of you, and this auntie suddenly got hold of me, and I'm like, do you know what? I haven't spoke to you for years.
Yeah. That's sad,
Um,
isn't it? That's so sad.
yeah, just fuck off. You're not having a penny.
Yeah.
And then one of my aunties was going, oh well, your mum changed the will, left it all to me, and I'm like, well, that's okay. If you think that, then go and do something about it. I don't really care. I don't care for anything. One of my sisters robbed the pub of like the TV, and do you know what I mean? It's just like vultures. It's not like shit. My mum's just been killed. Who's killed her?
Hmm.
Let's get justice for her. It's just like fuck it. Let's see what we can get out of this, and that's the wrong way. But karma will come back and bite him on the ass. I'm a big
Hmm.
believer in karma.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever what you put out in the universe, it will send it right back to you. You might get away with it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, even 20 years, but eventually it's all
Yeah.
coming back to you. It will all come back to you in the
Oh
end.
yeah. But then I think of all the animals and like for cancer research and you know
Hmm.
proper charities that struggle. They're the people that need the money to help everybody else in life,
Hmm.
not be a money grabber and grab what you can get out of the pub and grab everything and grab the money and run. That's just not my way of thinking. So
Hmm.
I was like, my husband agreed. He said, that's fine. You do what you want to do.
Hmm.
I was like, I just don't want a penny of it. I really, you know, money doesn't mean nothing to me. Happiness, health, and family
Hmm.
is the one things I thrive on in life.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful way to end it. It was lovely talking to you. I mean, we've had some really good conversations. I'll give you like 2 more minutes if you anything else you feel that you wanted to talk about, anything else you wanted to bring up. But it's entirely
I
up
just,
to you now. We're open.
yeah,
There's no time limit.
I just want to say to anybody who's fostered or anybody that feels alone or they're going through domestic violence, doesn't have to, or through violence through a family member, and you don't think that you're strong enough to get out, you are. You're worthy. You're worth more than that. Please seek help and get out because there is light at the tunnel, a lot of light, and you can do it.
And and the one thing I would add as well is don't ignore the warning signs. The first time someone shows you who they are, take it as a
Mm,
blessing. That's who they are. Take it as a
yeah,
blessing, you know. Get straight out of there, you know, because these guys, and women as well. It's not just men that do it. You know, once they've got their hooks in you for a couple of months, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, it's impossible to get out of that situation now without get putting yourself in serious harm. So if
mm,
someone shows you who they are, just believe them. That's who they are. They're violent. They're a thug. That's who they are. You know, and
yeah. They just need to get out quick. Don't do what I done and sit in it. And you know they're trying to knock you down and say you're not worthy. No one will have you. But I'll tell you one thing: God's got you. Get out. Get out of it. Don't put up with it because you can have a better life.
definitely. Everybody, this was TikTok Antoinette. Antoinette, her link is all underneath the video. Make sure you check her out. She's a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience. Probably she can help you out in a lot of situations, and give you a lot of advice. Antoinette, it was lovely having you on, and I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
the chat. I'm glad it's quite spontaneous as well. I'd literally just finished an
Yeah,
interview, and then I was
yeah,
like, okay, yeah, you jumped in. So some people would say it was meant to be, you know?
yeah, yeah. God works in mysterious ways.
He does indeed, and does indeed. Everyone, Brudsy Entertainment, cool and interesting stories, life stories, experiences. If you want to have a chat, just hit me up on Facebook, Discord, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is. I'm there. Just type Brudsy anywhere, you'll find me. Everyone have a fabulous day. Peace.